macking like the old school Jay-Z. I'm a player, never let these bitches play me. I'm on the level they can't handle, do I'm shady. I'm just a...
All right, well, like I said, we're gonna have a lot of raw material, so I'm just gonna go into it whenever.
But don't edit it, because you feel me. That's one of your main.
On the motherfucking podcast, yeah, that's different.
Is this not a podcast?
No, this is a video.
It's a video shooting of a podcast.
It's not really a video shooting. It's just a video review.
It's a video recording us as we do.
We're not doing
something in lines of a podcast. Just because it's not the main show.
That's the whole point. It's not the main show, though.
But that doesn't make it any less of a podcast.
It's not a podcast. It's a movie review.
It's the podcast.
It's representative of the podcast.
Exactly. Therefore, it's the podcast.
But it's really not.
If it's under the umbrella of our podcast, your podcast, then it's the podcast.
All right. Well, whatever. Hey, welcome RNS. Welcome to the first RNS video movie review. If you don't know what RNS Network is, you should go look it up. It's the podcast, man. It's the new podcast in these fucking streets. Like it's the best. The
crazy
greatest.
Thing is, like, you're saying that, but somebody really was like, I can't have y'all miss a week. So for those of y'all that's slipping on this content,
it's real. It's real. We out here. RNS.
RNS.
I'd like to introduce myself. You already know me, but you've never seen me unless you have, because I'm a baddie and I'm out in these streets. I am the GB, also known as the RNS head coach, because I run this shit. With me is my main show co-host. You know him as Zay, the great and powerful. How are you doing, sir?
It's so funny because when Phil not here, I'm the great and powerful. I noticed it. I just want you to know I noticed it.
So, today in our first video movie review, we're going to talk about that new shit to drop on the streets. That's Suicide Squad.
Oh, that's what we talking about today?
That's what we talking about today. And don't worry, guys. This is a non-spoiler review. You know, we know you guys get real butthurt about fucking spoilers. So, your butts will be fine. Suicide Squad. Wow. Coming from director David Ayer, who brought us movies like Training Day, which he wrote. You know what I'm saying? Brought us movies like Fury, that Brad Pitt tank movie that niggas thought was going to be trash, but... I heard it was good. I haven't seen it. But you know what I have seen? Suicide Squad.
All right.
2016. Give you guys a quick summary. So, Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, who plays her excellently, like straight out the comic books. She puts together Task Force X, which is basically a task force of what she calls metahumans to combat other metahumans after Superman has come. And, you know, we got people with powers out in these streets destroying cities and shit. Yeah. So, that team consists of Deadshot, played by Will Smith. Harley Quinn, Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie, which I must say, another brought straight out of the animated series, where she portrayed it just crazily. But we had the team leader, I guess you would call him, Rick Flag, by Joel Kinnaman. You got Captain Boomerang. You got Killer Croc. You got Slipknot. You've got...
Oh, no spoilers. Never mind. Go for it. Continue.
Yeah. Who else do we got on the squad? You got Katana with her soul-stealing blade.
Did you say KC already?
KC?
Killer Croc?
Yeah.
Oh, you said him already?
Yeah.
I didn't hear you say him.
Yeah.
Is that everybody? You said Diablo. You didn't say Diablo.
And Diablo, of course. Man, I'm sorry, I forgot you, my cousin. Wow. But, yeah, so she puts together this task force of the aforementioned squad, the Suicide Squad. And, of course, she, they go against, I guess, Enchantress is part of the squad.
Yeah, she's part of the squad, too.
Yeah. And they're put together to have to go against this threat that attacks Midway City. And along the way, you've got Jared Leto's Joker coming in, causing some who knows what nastiness as he's trying to get Harley back. All right, so First off, I want to say, going into this movie, heard a lot of negative reviews from the critics. I went and looked at all the people I really liked, and some of them were saying, hey, on the podcast / YouTube level, we're like, hey, give this movie a chance. We had a lot of fun with it, but all the real critics and reviewers were like, no, this movie's trash. It's badly put together and all that. And I got to tell you, man, this movie is flawed. I saw it. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of fun with this movie, and I could not see where the critics were coming from. How right now I think it's sitting at a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that shit don't make no sense to me at all. Over basically each character in the squad, how we felt about it, and I'm just gonna start off the gate with my boy, my man, Big Willie. We back in this bitch. Will Smith as Deadshot, Floyd Lawton, was fucking fantastic. He was my favorite character.
Wow.
Easily, by far. I loved it. This was the shit I want to see from Will Smith as an action hero, as an action star. He brought the charisma. He brought, I liked how he played a nice shade of gray, where you could see why he would be considered a villain because of what he does, but you can see that there's more to him. He's more complex than just your run-of-the-mill villain. How you feel about Mr. Big Willie?
I absolutely loved Will Smith. First off, thank you, Will. Thank you. Shout out to you, bro. Because I felt like I was never going to see you on the screen again.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
After Earth. Man. Look.
After death.
That's what you were saying.
Like I was saying, yeah, I'm really glad that he decided to take the role. And he played it absolutely perfectly. I don't know about my favorite character. We'll get into that a little later. But yes, if I were to put him in the ranking, he'd be my third favorite character out of everybody that was in the movie.
All right, well, moving on. How'd you feel about Harley Quinn?
Wow. I'm so glad that you went straight to her because that is my second favorite character in the entire movie. When I tell you she deserves some awards for the way that she portrayed Harley Quinn.
Wow.
I absolutely feel that way. The girl was amazing. She was bad in every single level. Like, all throughout the movie when they showed her, she was gorgeous. She was crazy. She was not crazy. Like, she was badass. She was everything I could possibly picture from Harley Quinn, and I'm so glad.
You know what? I've always been a fan of Harley Quinn in the Batman mythology, but I never was crying out for it to be on screen. She wasn't a presence I felt as necessary as like the Joker himself, but now that I've seen her brought to life, I can't see a DC universe or a Batman-led universe without her as part of it. She needs to be in the mix, and I'm really hoping that for Ben Affleck's solo Batman movie, she plays. Give another shout out to Viola Davis's Amanda Waller, because straight out there, she was gangster. She was calculated. She was on a level that you could see that she would be Batman's equivalent.
I knew she was a badass, but I didn't know she was a thug.
My nigga.
Wow.
My nigga.
Wow.
There are certain things she does in this that you don't see coming, and after she does it, just her reactions to it are just like,
yes,
yo, you scare me more than half the members of this squad. For the parts he's used, he's not really used all that much. El Diablo, I think, was actually kind of a standout, only because when they announced the lineup of the squad, he was one that I had no expectation for. And what they do with him and his backstory and the way they iterate him as part of the squad and his dynamic with everybody, actually, it probably gives you one of the biggest emotional hits of the movie. And I wasn't expecting it, but I was very surprised. And so he may be like probably one of the characters that I think gets one of the best shine out of this movie. Besides the top people, just of the, I guess you would say the side or characters.
Okay,
he gets one of the best shines. He okay, so from the promotion, I thought he was going to be more involved in the movie than he was. He was kind of more in the back than I thought. That being said, he had some of the funniest moments to me. And Jai Courtney, a lot of people get at him because he's been in a string of bad movies. Looking at you, Terminator Genesis. But this, I'm not gonna lie, this might be my favorite performance he's given. Like, he really he went all out for it, and it was funny, and he brought a nice dynamic to the rest of the squad with his just kind of I don't give a fuck.
I feel like he was kind of unnecessary. Like, I feel like his presence in the squad wasn't needed. So I guess that's not a spoiler, but that's just my opinion. He was funny. He was hella funny. I just feel like at sometimes I was like, why is this guy
he was used and how they did use him, I think it was effective. Hopefully in the next movie they'll give him a little more to do with the squad. If there is a next movie, fucking critics. Just a quick shout out because we didn't really touch on his character. A lot of people like to call him RoboCop. Joel Kinnaman, Rick Flag. I liked Rick Flag's character a lot. I've never really been a fan of Joel Kinnaman, but yeah, he was that stand-in standard soldier. He wasn't Tom Hardy, that's for sure. That's who they wanted to cast originally. That being said, he played his dynamic with Deadshot. I really enjoyed his dynamic with Amanda Waller and how they all played off each other. I really liked that, and he really served his purpose. And hopefully, if there is a sequel, I'd like to see him come back.
I wanted to see him more aggressive. I kind of see what they were going for, but I wanted to see him more aggressive. He put out a couple of threats in the movie, and it was like, I didn't really see him show how badass he was, why he was Amanda Waller's go-to guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wish that they would have shown that a little bit more.
Well, I for me personally, I feel like Amanda Waller gave a compelling reason on why she chose to go to him because of certain characters in the squad and related backstories and how they influence each other. So I felt like, I saw what they were trying to tie everything together. While some of it does take a stretch, to believe. It made enough sense for me to be like, okay, well, I'll take that. But all right, let's get to him. We basically went through the squad. Let's get to him. Go on and nut all over me.
You want to hear my favorite character?
Jared Leto's the Joker. Go on, Zay.
He was amazing. I loved him. Out of all of the Jokers that I've seen, I've seen them being badasses. I've seen them being careless. I've seen them be a little crazy. But this nigga showed a different side that I've never seen from a Joker before. And that was how psychotic he can be, and also a romantic side for his pudding. I really, really enjoyed that because it was so different. And that's something I did not expect from this movie. To see the romance that they had. That was really a nice touch.
Yeah. Let me tell you guys, he's not in there as much as you think he is. But what he is in there, I am very, very excited to see where Jared Leto's Joker goes. Because like you were saying, Zay, they showed his psychotic side well. He's not your average Joker. He's more of a gangster, kind of a mix of that. But you can totally see the Joker in just how he carries himself and his mannerisms. And one of the best part, the dynamic between him and Harley Quinn is their dynamic. That is what you've always seen. And how you pointed out, he's a romantic. They actually show that. Because in the animated series, you would always be like, well, he really don't give a fuck about her. No, he gives a fuck about her. And he will burn down everything and everybody to get her back. How did you feel about, because as we all know, seeing the trailers, Batman is in the movie. How did you feel about the use of Batman in this?
I don't know how to feel about it. This was a movie that really honestly took me like a day and a half to actually come up with a good rating for it that I'm going to stick with. So for how much screenplay he got, I guess because of the fact that they had shown him in the trailer, I just felt like he was going to be in the movie more. I wanted him to be in the movie a little bit more because I really, really enjoyed Ben Affleck as Batman. And I don't know, I wanted to see him kind of in the mix more. I know that this is the Suicide Squad, but Batman is still has been involved with them. Yeah. So, I don't know. It wasn't enough. I'll say that. Out of all my feelings towards it, I didn't see him enough.
Okay, I mean, I can see where you're coming from. I think he was used effectively because, like you said, it is the Suicide Squad, so it's not a Batman movie. And when he did show up, it was like he plays a very key part into certain people's why they're on the squad and how they basically think moving forward. And I felt like that was used well, and I enjoyed that. So I expected about the amount of screen time he did get, and so I wasn't too mad about it. Let's go on to the overall tone of the movie. The trailers kind of pitched it as kind of this fun romp to go on, you know, while they're fun action movie. Is that basically what you took away from it?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like they portrayed the movie well on the trailers to show it was a real preview of what you were going to see on the big screen. I feel like they stayed in line with the mission that they were going for. They stayed in line with you know, their characters and their places. That's important because I feel like they also really kind of showed you who, if they make another movie, who's gonna be the leader per se.
Yeah.
And you know, like that was a really nice touch to see that they have somebody that they're kind of looking up to in a sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, the movie was funny. It was action packed. It was great. It was exactly what I expected by watching the trailer.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to agree with you. One of my main concerns was a lot of people were saying there was rumors that in the trailers, those were all the funniest parts, and they had basically just took all that out of the movie and to display something it wasn't. I laughed consistently through the movie. There was constantly, maybe there was a 5 to 10 minute space every once in a while when action or some story details were getting dropped. But there was always something that either kept me intrigued, entertained, or I was laughing. So, you know, I felt like, yeah, there was. And for the source material that is as dark as this is, you wouldn't expect that it would be as funny. But just the charisma that each character brought and the way they played off each other and their banter, I would have to say that really just went to the fact of why this movie felt like it just flew by, because it was so well done.
Yeah.
And I really just love how they played off each other. Let's talk about the overall. We're not going to get into spoilers like we said, but the overall mission itself was serviceable enough for me to get to know these characters and the actors playing them. Get to know basically their dynamic off each other and how this world basically works from a different angle that we haven't seen that doesn't include Superman or Batman. And it was enough to make me like, okay, I want to see where you guys go next. But it wasn't one of the highlights of the movie for me, I guess.
Okay, I agree with you completely.
The villain, didn't really care for the villain all that much. Just like I was saying earlier, just like the mission they were on, the villain itself was just serviceable. It got you from point A to point B with some characters I enjoyed spending time with. So that's, I guess, all I needed, bottom line. That being said, DC is well known for, you know, their villains being top of the line, especially when you have someone like the Joker in the movie that is like, okay, well, that nigga's scary, you know? It's just, I don't know. I could have used something better.
I agree. I didn't like the villain. And one of the reasons why is because I feel like the villain's set of skills should have been portrayed more to be the villain. I feel like they kind of dumbed the villain down just so that the villain can be beaten.
How'd you feel about the music?
Oh, awesome. Oh my gosh, the music was perfect. They chose the right song for every single moment of that movie.
I felt the same.
Yeah,
man. I loved how the musical cues went, and each character, like the song they chose for them, seemed appropriate. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, man, we're gonna go to wrapping up now on final thoughts, basically, before we give our score. But yeah, man, you know, like I said, this is this nigga over here. I don't know what to do with him. You know, I see the flaws in it, you know, but as a debut and as something basically in the DC universe that isn't Superman, isn't Batman, something new that we haven't seen, I really enjoyed it. And I think it's all off the strength of the cast and the squad itself. I mean, really, that does enough to make this movie, like, you forgive so much because you're just enjoying your time with these people. Like, these people are so interesting, and the things they say to each other and how they play off each other is just so fun. And so that, you know, I could see why, you know, people would enjoy this movie more than BVS, is because it had that element of fun. While I would say personally, BVS probably had the tighter story, the better story, this was a good time in the movie theater. Zay?
I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself, Chris.
Well, I know you couldn't have, bitch nigga. So anyways, we're going to go, we're going to give you our scores now. Now, RNS official policy is it's out of 5. Some bitch niggas like to be bitch niggas. But my score for this movie is going to be a 3.5 out of 5. Really enjoyed it. Very excited to see what's next. For me, personally, the DC universe the movie universe is going in a better way. You know, it's taking steps in the right direction, and I only think it's going to get better from here based on this movie.
Now, I was never told that it was RNS policy that we only rate out of 5. I ain't never seen that in no goddamn contracts.
Reread your contract, nigga.
How much am I getting paid again?
Back to your rating.
Okay. I personally like to do a 1 out of 1 through 10. So on that scale, I will give the movie, drum roll please.
He gave himself a drum roll.
7.77.
You fucking disgusting bitch. Well, who the fuck does 7.77? Right, so, 7.77 really equates out to like a 3.67 on the RNS scale. So, you know, there you go. Take it out. For us, I am GB, also known as the RNS head coach. With me is my main show co-host, Zay. Anything you'd like to say to the people?
Yes.
That was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, for sure. Well, you can find us always at the Real RNS Network on SoundCloud. That is where our podcast is, the RNS Main Show and the Triple H. We just released episode 5 last week, and we went over Comic-Con. So, yeah, feel free to check that out, or subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram, the Real RNS Network. Anyway. Follow us on Twitter, the Real RNS Network. Facebook. We don't have a Snapchat yet, but we working on that. We got a face to the book, the Real RNS Network. If you see a purple bear with some green eyes, you know you found us. And just on my signature sign off, we gonna talk to you later.
Yeah.
That nigga.
Mama stank, nigga. All y'all.
Macking like the old school Jay-Z. I'm a player, never let these bitches play me. I'm on the level they can't handle, do I'm shady. I'm just a player, blame the game, don't blame me. Forever macking like the old school Jay-Z. I'm a player, never let these bitches play me. I'm on the level they can't handle, do I'm shady.